The word has gone out to law enforcement organizations all around Capitol Hill that no further assistance is needed. So I would think that pretty soon we're going to see an all clear here. All those barriers that you were talking about a while ago will go down. The big question was whether they were looking for anyone else, whether they were concerned that there may be other suspects. Whenever there's anything like that happens, that's always a concern. But apparently they have satisfied themselves that this was an isolated incident. We caution about passing along initial information, but the initial information is, you always wonder, well, what was going on here? Was this some sort of political motivation? Was it something else? And the initial word is that this may be somebody who had some mental issues, some mental health issues. That's to be confirmed, but that's the initial word that's going out. But it seems to be over. Those barriers that you talked about, if you recall a couple of years ago, Brian, the shooting incident around the Capitol that actually started with a woman in her car.
At the White House.
Yes, who ran a barrier at the White House, and then she went tearing up Pennsylvania Avenue toward the Capitol, and there were shots fired at her at the base of the Capitol. I'm talking about an incident a couple of years ago, and then it finally ended up around near one of the Senate office buildings, between the newer Senate office building and the Supreme Court building. Well, that is why you saw what happened at the White House happen. Anytime there's a word of a shooting, they immediately send the word out to all the sort of federal facilities in this central Washington government area, just to be on the prudent side. There was no reason to think that there were other incidents or any other danger to those places, but until you can nail it down and figure out what's going on, that's why that went up. All those barriers they can instantly be raised. You're looking at one in the background there at the, not sure exactly where that is, but those things pop up all around to try to keep anybody from moving around. It's a time of year, it bears repeating, that there's a lot more tourists in Washington than usual because of the cherry blossoms coming out now. They're at their peak, and so there's a lot of people there. The cherry blossoms are not, as you know so well from having lived here, they're not far from the Capitol building, so a lot of people will go see the cherry blossoms and then head up to the Capitol building. That was just the Supreme Court across the street there you saw a moment ago in this shaky video. But it does appear that this is over. What our understanding is that a male suspect, a male person, walked into the Capitol Visitor Center, aimed a gun or lifted a gun up or did something that a police officer considered to be a threat, and the police officer fired at the suspect, wounding the suspect. That was the only shot fired, is our information. The suspect was taken to the hospital. We haven't talked to anybody yet who knows the extent of the suspect's injuries, but we're waiting to hear that, and it does appear to be all clear. They apparently satisfied themselves that no one else was involved and that the danger is over. So I suspect soon that those barriers will come down and people will be able to move around again.
And obviously, Pete, to your point, tensions are high after